Today I want to share with you the story of Dr. Hugh Lin. He worked at the Hawaii State Hospital in the very high security ward, which was for criminally insane people. And this is in the 1980s, somewhere in the early 1980s. And it's been said that Dr. Hugh Lin didn't do any therapy on any of the patients who were in this mentally insane part of the ward in this hospital. He would walk through the ward and review the patient's files, but not for the purpose of therapy. This mental ward was apparently so chaotic that the nurses reported that not one day would go when the patients, the nurses, and the rest of the staff, everybody had a brawl and they were fighting and there was violence. The ward was so destructive and so depressive to the staff that the staff would go on sick leave many times. So the story goes that Dr. Hugh Lin would arrive in the office every morning with a very cheerful disposition. He never went and visited each inmates, but he would browse through their files from time to time, and people would wonder what he was doing. And slowly things began to change in the mental ward. The prisoners and the staff started getting along with each other. The inmates were less destructive, and the staff started taking more initiative to make sure the place is more well cleaned and better. And everybody observed that something was going on, but nobody was overtly aware of what had happened. Now, Dr. Hugh Lin worked in this mental ward for almost 4 years. And during this period of time, the prisoners improved so much and the staff did their work so well. The inmates who were mentally insane, violent, became so good that they could eventually be transferred to other wards, and this very high security clinic was actually closed down because really nobody was left. So obviously people wanted to know what had happened over there. Now Dr. Hugh Lin said that he used an ancient Hawaiian process on all these patients. He never met them personally. He just looked at their files and mentally sent them a vibration. And when he was asked that, hey, did you do anything to change the patients? And he would just say, I was simply healing them because they're all a part of me. And he believed the essence of life, that we're all one, that the responsibility for all of life rests with all of us individually and collectively. And life is our own responsibility. So in a literal sense, he would take the entire world as his own creation and would take responsibility for his life and for everything around him. Everything he could see, hear, taste or touch, or in any way experience, he considered as his responsibility. And by doing this, what he did exactly was this. He would look at the file of each of the members and he would do this ancient Hawaiian process. And this is what the process is. He would close his eyes and with his whole being send the energy of love and say, I love you. And then he would say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. And he said this with his whole being, with every file of each of the prisoners individually. And he did this every single day. And he said, the energy of him sending this vibration from his whole being impacted the cells of each of the prisoners, and they slowly changed and completely transformed. So this technique is called Ho'oponopono. Many people may have heard about it. It's basically the technique of taking 100% responsibility of everything we see, everything we feel. And the more we do this, the more we can experience a miraculous life. Because everything we see and experience in life is nothing more than our individual and collective memories. And Dr. Hugh Len believed that the miracle in the hospital was nothing more than him, cleaning the memories inside his cells, and therefore those of the prisoners and everybody in the hospital. So he really was practicing that the only one source, one energy prevails in all of us. And if we can reach down deep into our subconscious mind and take whatever problem we have, whatever memories we have, and neutralize them and remove that memory from the storage space inside us, cleaning that space deep inside us, it can work and clean that space and make the mind leave all those marks in our consciousness so that we can become free of some old subconscious patterns. Because once the mind gets cleaned from all these old patterns can be scarcity, patterns can be procrastination, patterns can be fear, patterns can be depression, patterns can be any old patterns that we are unknowingly revolving around. And it's our job to see what our pattern is and how to empty ourselves of it. So once our mind goes into the state of emptiness, there's an inherent peacefulness because our nature is peace deep down. And once this peacefulness, which is our own nature, emerges from the bottom, it comes up and pervades every cell of our being, and we are inspired. And there's a transmutation of everything within ourselves, which only something which is way beyond us can do. So I share this today for those of us who have never heard of this, or some of us have heard of this, but just kind of reminding ourselves that this is a very powerful technique that we could use, whether it's working on our money patterns, whether it's working on our non-forgiving patterns, whether it's working on our health or any part of our life. It's a very profound technique which we can use directly, very simple. And the awareness of this can change our lives, because nothing in the world exists except our own projections. As they say, the great masters say, the problem isn't anything in the world, it's within me. So the place to work is within us. If we can change one belief inside us, a whole world outside us would change. It may be tough to grasp for some people, but on the other hand, as we practice it, the more we can feel the impact and feel its power in our lives. We start giving up blame, we start giving up any other person's accountability for our lives. And the essence of this technique, Ho'oponopono, is really about loving oneself, about wanting to improve one's own life, about wanting to heal our lives, about wanting to cure ourselves, uplift ourselves, create greater abundance on every level. If we would like to practice this, each one of us, every day, giving it attention, giving it focus to whatever problem you've identified, right? And make this a practice at least 3 times a day, let's say in the morning, midday, and afternoon, if you're trying to work on something very specific that you'd really like to change in your lives. And as we practice this more and more, the resistance inside our own consciousness dissolves, and this beautiful flow of divine energy flows through us, cleansing us, releasing our mind of all the chatter, and the unnecessary activity, and alignment happens within us. And when we are aligned, we feel we are in alignment and in line with the divine order, with the universe's love for us flows in amazing beauty, and we can feel the synchronicity. Repeat the original words that Dr. Hugh Len used. He would sit and say these 4 words, 4 sentences. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. So I'm going to say this again for all of us. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I hope you will all use these things and try them out, whether it's with a partner or whether it's with a child or whether it's with a situation or if it's with money or it's with your colleagues. Please try this out, and I would love to hear how this has changed your life. Basically, by repeating these 4 statements to ourselves, if we focus on any issue or any problem that one is encountering in any area of life, constant repetition of this will clear any negative energy, and it clears the energy inside us, and that is reflected in the world through a change, changing basically the energetic blueprint in the quantum field. So what we say to ourselves and feel about ourselves changes the world.